In the quiet depths of a forgotten countryside, a legend lay still, covered in rust, swallowed by vines, and left behind by time itself. This is the DT-14, a Soviet-era diesel tractor, once the backbone of eastern farmlands. Built in the 1950s. Tough, simple, and stubborn as the men who drove it. For nearly 2 decades it sat here, motionless. Rain, snow, and silence carving their mark into its frame. But today, something changes. I found it. The moment I laid eyes on it, I knew. This machine still has a soul. The tires are gone, the body is rusted through. But the engine, the heart, might still beat. It was never meant to be flashy. It was built to work. 14 horsepower, 6 forward gears, and a whole lot of grit. Some DT-14s ran on tracks, but this one's different. It's on wheels, a rare variation. It once pulled plows across Ukrainian fields, hauled carts across Russian farms. Today, it begins its second life. I talked to the old man who owned it. He said, "If you can bring it back, it's yours." So we loaded it up, back to my shop. It wasn't easy. We brought in an old sedan, hooked a steel cable to the frame, and pulled the DT-14 out from the underbrush. Trees, vines, roots. Nature had tried to bury it, but we weren't letting it rot. Once free, we called in the big guns. A heavy-duty truck rolled in and took over the haul. That night was long. The road home was cold. And when we finally made it back, it was almost midnight. We lowered her down from the flatbed, 1 careful inch at a time, parked her in the yard. No words, just quiet stares. We knew the real work starts tomorrow. At sunrise, I didn't stop for coffee. I ran straight outside to see her again in the light. And there she was, not the mold-covered wreck I dragged home, but a machine, proud, solid, and still alive beneath the rust. The frame, the seat, the details, so much was still intact. I proceeded to replace the starter system. Next, I checked the fuel tank. I decided to remove the fuel tank for cleaning, since it was so easy to remove. I proceeded to install and fuel it. I started with the hand fuel pump, pulled it apart piece by piece. Decades of rust scraped away. Cleaned it, sealed it, put it back together. Then came the test. One slow push, and it worked. After all these years, it still breathes. Next, I pulled the valve cover. Years of stillness. But inside, The rocker arms were clean, solid, almost untouched by time. I measured the valve lash, recalibrated the gap. After years of silence, clearances drift. A valve too loose? It knocks. Too tight? It chokes the engine. This adjustment isn't just maintenance, it's precision. It's the rhythm of the machine. I put the battery in and started it for the first time. I knew it wouldn't start right away, but I was still excited and hopeful. To get the engine running again, it needs a long enough warm-up period for the systems to pump oil throughout the body, to lubricate every small detail. I decided to replace it with a brand new starter motor that is many times more powerful. I installed the new starter, tightened every bolt, double-checked the wiring. Then came the moment. Second attempt. I turned the key and waited. Nothing. I tried again and again. 10 minutes passed. Still. Silence. The battery strained. The engine turned, but no fire. Hope started to fade. Resurrecting the dead, it seems. Doesn't happen on the second try. Years in the field teach you to feel what a machine can't say. And this one wasn't breathing right. My guess, compression loss, maybe worn cylinders, maybe the rings are tired. Either way, the chamber wasn't sealing, so I made a call. I pulled the injector, poured a few drops of engine oil into the combustion chamber. Not much, just enough to coat the walls, enough to seal, enough to give it a fighting chance. Sometimes all it takes is one old trick. The third attempt, just like the ones before. She didn't wake up. No cough, no fire, just silence. So I made the call, took off the cylinder head. If she won't speak, then I'm going in to see what's left inside her heart. I took a quick look and found water leaking into the combustion chamber. I dropped the oil pan, needed to see the heart of the lubrication system. Years of sludge. Old oil turned to tar. I cleaned every channel, checked the pump, made sure nothing was blocked. When I pulled the piston, I found the problem. The rings were seized, locked in place. Years of carbon buildup. No movement, no seal. That engine never had a chance. Compression was leaking, and without compression, there's no combustion, no life. Now I knew what had to be done. The original rings, long out of production. So I measured, micrometer in hand, searching for a match. And there it was, Mercedes. Same dimensions, same fit. I ordered the set, not factory parts. But sometimes, resurrection means being resourceful. A Soviet heart with German lungs. Time to breathe again. The body is fed into the planer to obtain a perfectly flat surface. The cylinder was worn down, so I bored it clean, then polished it to spec. Mirror smooth, perfect fit. No guessing, just precision. She's ready to breathe again. The lubricating oil pump has been cleaned and reinstalled. I reassembled the parts after cleaning and repair to standard specifications. The cooling system is punctured and needs to be cleaned and repaired. Because the repair is complicated, it will take several days to fix. The cooling system wasn't ready yet, still off-site, but I couldn't wait. So I took the risk and turned the key. Just a few seconds, just enough to hear if she's alive. Of course, how could it come back to life after several reboots? In my experience, I have done a manual bleed of the fuel system. I cranked it again, and this time, white smoke. She was close, but not ready. The internals were still cold, still dry. She needed heat. She needed oil. The signs were there, just not the spark. Not yet. Do you feel the same spark I do when an old machine comes back to life? If this journey moved you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more stories to tell, more rust to polish, more engines to wake up from decades of silence. So give this video a like and drop your thoughts in the comments, because around here, forgotten machines get a second chance. Oh God, my heart exploded. After all the hours, the failures, the grit and stubbornness, I heard it. A weak rumble, a breath. Then, the sound of life. She was alive. After 20 years forgotten in the woods, this machine, she spoke again. And in that moment, I didn't say a word. I just stood there and let the sound fill me. The oil system gauge still shows normal operation, even though this is only a basic system. I climbed into the cab, heart racing, slid it into gear, and felt the old beast move. No grinding, no hesitation. After 2 decades of silence, the drivetrain still worked. Solid, steady, like it never stopped. The front tires were shot, dry rotted, cracked, beyond saving. But I had a few spares in the back, old, but usable. So I swapped them in. Nothing fancy, just enough to roll forward. She's not perfect yet, but she's moving again. I moved on to the steering system, pulled it apart piece by piece. It was stiff, dry, and neglected. But this system controls everything. So I cleaned it, greased every joint, brought it back to life. Steering isn't just comfort, it's survival. Final checks. Everything in place. I turned the key one last time. No struggle, no hesitation. Just one crank. And she fired. Smooth, confident, alive. This time, she was truly back. dropped it into gear, feathered the throttle, and she moved. Strong, solid. The steering was heavy, pure mechanical, no hydraulic assist. But that's how they built them in the 50s. Raw, honest, tough, and still, she rolled like she never left the field. The cooling system was still missing, still on the workbench. But I couldn't wait. Just one lap, just to feel her move under the sun. Risky? Maybe. But after 2 decades in silence, I had to know she could still breathe. The cooling system arrived last night. I didn't wait. I worked through the dark, fitting every hose, every bolt. By sunrise, she was ready. I climbed in, turned the key, and let her run. This time, no more holding back. Just pure, effortless motion. And damn, it felt good. When that old machine came back to life, it wasn't just a moving machine. It was my youth, awakening from the dust of time. I remembered the sunlight on my back, the sweat on my forehead, and the familiar sound of steel and earth becoming one. Back then, we didn't have modern technology. We had willpower, we had brotherhood, and there were machines like that. Durable, honest, living forever. This machine had pulled tons of crops from dawn to dusk, through fields of sweet potatoes, wheat, and hope. It never complained. It simply kept going because we didn't stop. Now, standing next to it again, it was as if I had gone back in time. The memories came flooding back, as clear as if they had never been away. How about you? Where were you in the 60s and 70s? What car did you drive? An old Belarus, a Zetor, or a Fordson? Do you remember the smell of diesel on cold mornings? The first start of the day? The engine that only started when you stroked it with your own hands? Wherever you live, what you do today, I believe those memories are still with you. Hai chia se kau chuyen kwa ban duai fan bin luan. Je chung ta kong hao no lai. Mot thoi hao hong kong te nao kwe.